How you doing, people? Welcome to the first official guide on my new survival channel for Conan Exiles. Now, this has been around for a very long time, but there's lots of people joining every single day and they don't know where to get started. Let's face it, most people die in the sand. So if you want to know how to get started and the best way to get yourself established in this game, stay tuned, it is coming right up. So first of all, let's start with the settings, because that's the one that people miss out on. They go into the options, they don't know what anything does, they don't know where to start, so I'm going to show you. First of all, look at the top left-hand side of the screen. You can see that my health bar and my stamina bar is just yellow and red. They're confusing. So, go into your options in settings. It doesn't matter whether you're on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. The settings are relatively similar, but you want to make sure that you go down in this list and you want to show your HUD buffs. That will show you your water and your food and all that good stuff. Generally speaking, this should be active already, but just make sure that it definitely is. Set your scale to whatever you prefer, whether it be really large icons or small, and then make sure you go to here. This one is crucial. This is show bar values. Now, it's great to see that you've got health, and if you get hit, you lose some, but you want to know how much you've lost, so make sure you tick that. Now, if you look at the top left, you can see that I can actually visually track how much health and stamina I have in raw numbers rather than just a bar that moves. Now, due to the new player experience that they added quite a while ago, there are some chests around in the starting area with bits of food, some basic materials, nothing major, but you do actually have a water skin to start with on some servers. Now, if you don't worry, I'm going to show you how to get water anyway, but if you do, this is how you survive in the desert for the time being. Keep an eye on your water counter there. You can see on my character sheet, it's 72 of 100. Just make sure that you maintain it. It doesn't have to go all the way up to 100% all the time, although that will benefit you. We'll explain that in another video. But for the time being, just make sure you are hydrated. So activating it once is more than enough for now. If you don't have this, again, don't panic, we're getting to it. But basic materials. You are going to need stone for just about everything. You're going to need wood for just about everything. And you're going to need plant fiber for just about everything. So grab a few bits and pieces here as you start. Now, bear in mind, if you're on a private server, these amounts that you pick up may be very different depending on the rules, but the rule of thumb generally is the same thing. Stone, wood, and plant fiber. So you want to run around picking up rocks and wood before you make your way to the water. Bear in mind, there are many different areas here on the main exiled lands where it is safe and many areas where it is not. And most players tend to run straight. They go to this area here where there are two sentinel statues, which is relatively safe as long as you run straight to the water. So that is exactly what we're going to do. Bear in mind, however, there is another way. If you go all the way to the edge of the desert and then run straight across, you will come into contact with a couple of camps that you don't want to engage with right now, but you can go straight to the water again. Straight to the water is the plan here, and I'll explain why when we get there. Don't forget on the way to pick up branches and plant fiber as much as you can possibly find on the way there. You don't need to invest too much time here, but make sure that you do actually pick up a few so that you can get started with your clothing. As you can see here, just a small amount of plant fiber, and we've got enough to make some hands and some feet and also some legs as well as far as armor is concerned. It's not going to be really powerful for you as far as your survival is concerned, but it is going to help you from the heat, because that is currently affecting us. As you can see on the left-hand side there, we've got a heat or temperature gauge, which will tell you whether you're hot or cold. You don't need to equip the items yourself, but if you do have them in your bag, you can just activate them and they'll go on. But generally speaking, if you've got nothing on at all right now, it will automatically equip itself. So that is very useful. Plant fiber for clothes. Make yourself a bandage as well, just in case you get hurt shortly, because you will. And above all, you want to make sure that the first thing you can build when you get to safety is a bed. Now, granted, that is going to cost you quite a bit of plant fiber, so it's probably safer that we get down to the beach first, but you're going to need one nonetheless. Now, before we go any further, this is where you need to learn the most basic form of navigation when it comes to objects. Yes, in this game, you can climb. So your jump button, regardless of platform, will allow you to attach yourself to walls. Technically speaking, you can just run up to it and hit jump and then hold still, and it won't cost you any stamina. So you might be out of harm's way right now and just waiting for them to go away, or you might be trying to figure out how this works. But it will cost you stamina. There are many ways to reduce the cost of this, saved for another video, but you can basically climb up and down and around as long as there isn't anything in your way. Now, if you let go, you will fall, but if you hit the jump button again, you will slide. Sliding is safe as long as you have stamina. It will cost you to attach or grab the side of the rock. So if you want to attach yourself to it or grab the side of it, you need stamina, otherwise you can't do it. So if you go to absolute 0, you are going to fall and die. So bear in mind, you need to keep track of how much stamina you have at all times. If you know you're not going to make it, stop moving, let go, grab. Bear in mind, your stamina is going to be consumed whether you are going up, down, left, or right. Lots of people make this mistake. They climb up and they're like, oh, I'm going to run out. And they do this and they start obsessing over where they're going to place their feet. Look at my stamina bar. The whole time I'm doing this, it is getting drained. Do not do that. Anyway, onto the beach. This is the crucial part. Obviously, there's some enemies there. They will wreck me. So, what do? Well, you want to get some weapons and tools and all that good stuff, but we don't have anything at the moment. So what can you honestly do to get rid of them apart from outrun them? Well, you can do this. This is your safety area in Conan. Nothing can hurt you in the water unless it's a player. If you get far enough away, they cannot swim. You can. So, we're going to come back to that in a moment. Your next step is to make sure that you have your basics. You've got your armor, you've got some plant fiber, you picked up some sticks. So, need a bedroll, just in case you die, because you can respawn where the bedroll is placed. You won't have your armor or gear or anything like that, depending on the server rules, but you can place a bedroll down, which can be killed by other players if you're on a PvP server, but this is where you will appear instead of in the desert. You can still choose to spawn in the desert, but if you want to spawn here, you can. You can only have one bedroll and one bed at a time. You can have many beds placed, but you can only assign yourself to one. Bedrolls themselves, if you place one, the old one will disappear. So, assign yourself to one bed and place one bedroll. If I want to move this, I can pick it up as long as it's not damaged, and I can place it somewhere else. So always make a basic rule to carry a bedroll with you at all times, especially if you are exploring dangerous areas and going all the way up here or up here, in order to not have to keep running back so much. You will have to find your body and you will have to get your gear, and it will come up on the map when you die. But at least you'll spawn next to it. So if you're scared of the next area, you're not sure what's to come, place a bedroll close by. Anyway, now that that is out of the way, your main port of call next is your tools. You are going to need a hatchet and you're going to need a pick. Now, skinner knives and butcher's knives or cleavers are quite important when it comes to food and hide, so I would highly recommend getting a skinner knife. The food stuff, not so important right now, but if you've got the spare materials, by all means do so. But again, you're going to need to make sure that you get the parts in order to make them. You can run around and pick up sticks and stones in order to make these, but once you've got the two basic ones, you can make the rest nice and quickly anyway. So these will go automatically onto your Hot Wheel, as long as they are not already full. So we'll start by chopping down some trees, which will give us basic wood and branches. That will go towards our next tool. Yes, you get XP for that. This tool isn't for stone, but it's much, much faster than picking it up. As you see now, just with a basic tool, I have enough materials to make an actual hatchet, which you would use on rock. This you would use on trees. And then in the meantime, one more tree should give me enough to make a skinning knife. Almost. Need some more stone. Don't kill the rabbit. I mean, you can. And that is job done. One more thing to get. A few more sticks. That should be enough to make our torch. Now that we've got that covered, let's have a look at what they all do. So, your basic pick is for stone, anything rock-based. But if you use it on a tree, you will get different materials. Instead of wood and branches, you will actually start getting bark. That can be used for fuel later on and for some other recipes. So that is how you get those. The hatchet you've already seen, that can break stone, obviously, but it's more efficient at chopping down trees. That's where you'll get wood and branches. The pick will get resin and bark, depending on the quality of them as well. Skinning knife is how you get hide. Every single tool that you have is capable of getting hide and meat and all that good stuff, but if you have the proper tool for the job, it will get more. The torch, that is so you can see in the dark, but it will burn down over time. It will have an expiry time on it, and you will need the required materials in order to repair it should it break, or simply make a new one. Your bandages, they can only be used while you're standing still, and they will help you recover health. As you start, you will not recover health in any other way unless you are currently being sated by food. So pick up whatever insects you can from plant fiber spots, or from meat from enemies if you cut them up, but you must make sure you cook them first. Otherwise, you will be poisoned. So, the next part is the campfire, which is where our knowledge points come in. This. Campfire done. Now, you can make one. You're going to need, obviously, sticks and stones, like everything else. Plenty around on the ground. We haven't really left the main area yet, and if we get chased by anyone, we can jump in the water. Bear in mind, if it's a player, different story. NPCs, however, none are here, but if any were to come over here because you managed to upset them, jump in the water, they won't hurt you. Now, we've got a basic fire. That can stay with us for the time being, but as soon as we have enough materials to make food, we're good to go. So, you could hunt people. We'll get to weapons in a moment, but here's the easiest way to make any food. You are going to need plant fiber, and you're going to need seeds. As it stands, we don't have a scythe or anything. That would be much, much faster, so we have to do this by hand as a new player. Get as much of this as you possibly can. This area is ripe with this kind of stuff, and it's very, very easy to get yourself started. There's lots of different food in the game that can give you different stats and benefits and recovery bonuses. Yes, you recover for a short period of time once you consume food, but the main thing you want to do is get a good balance of both food and water. Well, gruel is a recipe that isn't shown in the fire or any cooking equipment, but this is how you make it. Seeds, plant fiber, and some fuel. So we're going to go with a bit of wood. Cook. As you can see here, this is making your basic gruel, and it makes 10 at a time on live official servers. That is both food and drink at the same time. So this will keep you going for a long time when you first start out. Then you can even pick up the fire, or leave it there and come back to it later. This is really, really easy and fills up both bars. Happy days. When your food and water starts depleting, make sure you do that. When it comes to your water skin, you're going to want to make sure you fill it up. So if you look at the water and activate it, it will fill it. And now you're good for 10 more clicks. Outside of this, the next thing you want is weapons. Obviously, it depends on what playstyle you want to adopt, but you're going to need to have some way of getting weapons, so you need to go into your knowledge points and unlock them. Building we'll come to in a moment. A bow is quite simple. Kill stuff from long range, but you are going to need arrows for it, so you're going to need to make them. You can make flint arrows or bone arrows with the correct materials straight away. They're the most basic forms, but those will be attached to the bow if you pick them up from your inventory and click onto them. I'll show you in a moment. And you can use that, but bear in mind they are going to drain your stamina if you're holding back the arrow for too long. So don't hold it for too long. Make sure you're a good shot. Daggers are the go-to for most people because they bleed. What you need to do is a heavy attack, which we'll get to in a moment. A maul is quite nice, but very, very slow, but it does give you access to a stone pike and a two-handed sword. Shield is God mode because you can block almost everything. And a basic sword or stone club will cover most things as well. So what I would suggest to start with is to have a set of daggers and have a sword and a shield. A bow is a go-to for most people, so there's no harm in it, but it depends on how much time you want to invest in building weapons right now. Anyway, these are made inside your main inventory. As you can see here, we need sticks and stones to make flint head arrows, which are really, really easy, and you make 10 at a time. They will normally go onto your quick bar. If you don't want them there, take them out. The bow itself, however, is going to require plant fiber and twine. Twine is made with plant fiber. So again, we're back to the bushes, picking up plants. Now, you want to make as much of this as you possibly can, but sometimes if you have enough materials on you to make all the different individual things, the bow itself or the item itself will just say press now. It will just allow you to make it, and it will do all the prerequisites at the time of activation before making the actual weapon. So it will do it for you. It will recognize what you need. Now, we do need some sticks because we decided to run out of them. So we've got those. Should be good to go. Yes, you will level by farming and building and killing and all that good stuff. But as it stands, we don't have a weapon at the moment, so that one's not an option. Remember to use the appropriate tool for the appropriate resource. It will save you a lot of hassle, and your durability will thank you for it because you won't be breaking your tools too often. We need a small amount of these, and we don't have enough plant fiber to do it all. So we need a little bit more. Technically speaking, I can make the twine, but I'm still going to need the extra plant fiber. That you'll get used to over time. Something is after me. Remember what I said about the water? Yes, even a crocodile is scared of the water. Now let's make a bow. Easy peasy. Now, the bow is going to go on the bar, and the arrows need to go on the bow. Hear that noise? That was telling you that it's equipped. Now, these plants here, the aloe leaves that come from places near plant fiber, they actually do heal you. So for the time being, you can use those to eat and heal yourself, or you can use it to make potions. The basic potions are here. If you activate a potion, it will heal you and then give you a quick heal over time. But if you get damaged during that process, it will stop the heal over time. So use it in a safe space because it will slow you down. Let us show off the bow. You are going to be very, very weak when you first start out. So you're not going to hit very hard at all. I would still highly recommend making yourself a set of daggers because the bleed is actually really, really nice early on to help get down enemies that are much, much stronger than you. Anyway, let's kill the crocodile. I want to stay away from him and keep my stamina up. Never let your stamina run to 0 because you'll have 5 seconds worth of fatigue where you cannot actually recover. Now, one thing that you need to consider, of course, is the fact that your damage is going to be relatively low, so you're going to be fighting these for quite some time to start with. Later on, it won't be too much of an issue, but if you need to make more arrows, you're going to have to make sure that you go and build them before you engage in combat. Otherwise, it's just going to be a waste of time. Now, when it comes to attacks, you have a light attack and a heavy attack, generally speaking. You can light attack like this over and over and over, or you can hold your aim and then light or heavy. Light or heavy for a bow doesn't make any difference. Light or heavy for any other weapons does, because they have special abilities. Technically, the zoom or the aim for the bow is your special. So hold special. I've got some arrows because I just ran out. You hold the special button. Listen. Listen again. Listen for the beep. That is when your heavy attack or your hardest hit, precision shot if you like, is ready. Now that we've killed the crocodile, we need to chop him up. Now if you use the axe, you'll get bones out of him. Everything can get bones, but this will get more, generally speaking, or you can use the pick, it's up to you. We were unlucky on that one, but we want bones in order to make the shield. When you have a shield, which we will go into creator mode, because we're on a private server right now, so it really doesn't make a difference, you'll be able to block pretty much everything. So for the sake of efficiency, I'm going to demonstrate what it looks like. Any shield will do. Spoiler for a cool one? Sure, why not? The quality of the shield doesn't really matter. That is something that is different in this game. Most games, your quality of your shield determines your defenses. In this game, it doesn't. In this game, it determines how much damage you do because the shield can attack. But your special is block. Now, of course, you want to make sure you've got a one-handed weapon, but this will mitigate pretty much all the damage as long as you have stamina and as long as you're facing them. As you can see, my health bar is not being touched. And you can do this all day. Except if you get kicked. Even a basic shield can do this. The one that you make with bones. If you get kicked, obviously you're going to fall over, but you want to make use of your dodge roll occasionally for that one. This particular shield does bleed, but that is irrelevant. The point is, if you've got a one-handed weapon and a shield, you can block for a very long period of time. You can mitigate a lot of damage. You can return fire when they get in trouble or when they bounce off of it. Hide and human flesh and bones with the axe, or if you want specific parts, then you can use the cleaver for the meat. You can use the skinning knife for the hide. It's up to you, but that is how you basically manage those. You want a shield nice and early. If you don't have a shield nice and early, regardless of its type, then of course, again, you want to make the daggers. And let me explain how these work, because people mess this up all the time and it's very, very tricky to start with. Basically, you want to take advantage of your heavy attack to apply the bleed and the light attacks to do damage, but you are exposed to the elements. You are relatively weak right now, so if you get hit by too much, you are going to die. So you need to learn what each individual enemy's weapon types do eventually. It's not the end of the world for the moment. The trick is to get in and get out. It's very, very different to that of sword and board play. So, basic daggers are being made. These will break very, very quickly, but this is your light attack. You can do combos, obviously mixing light and heavy attacks combined. So there's your heavy, there's your light. Over time, you will learn to find your favorite combos if you like. You can go heavy, heavy, light, 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 heavy. There's lots of different ways to do this, but you need to know that you're exposed if you press heavy and you make them bleed. So time it very, very carefully. Your special, however, because you don't have any defensive benefits from a dagger, is actually this. Watch your stamina. If you dodge roll, you use stamina. If you backflip, you use stamina. Your basic dodge roll you can use with any weapons unless you're encumbered. And this you can use as long as you are standing or running without a sprint. If you sprint for a long time, you actually do have a special attack when you go in. As you can see, they're bleeding with the status effect near their health bar. I can technically just walk off now and just reapply that each time it runs out. Now, here's the trick. You can apply one bleed, or you can apply multiple. Poisons can stack up to 10 times. Bleeds can stack up to 20. He is not going to last 20 bleeds, but if you get one bleed on him and then just try not to get hit, he will eventually die. Or close to. Be careful. Some enemies hit much harder than others. You will die very, very quickly. Anyway, chop those bodies up, take the arrows, etc., etc. Now the important part, your stats. What do they do? Because now we're in a situation where we're established. You've got your tools, you've got your weapons. Now you can start exploring and you can then start building. Now building is the tricky part. That is where we will go into another video regarding that. But in order to do so, you need to unlock your first block, sandstone, in the knowledge tree. And then that will give you access to construction hammer. The construction hammer goes on your bar. When you activate it, you have access to the building sheets or building windows. That will save for another video. As of now, we're going to finish this off with your attribute points and what you should be doing with them. Now, there's many different ways to build in this game, but you can only have a maximum of 60 points to use. There's 120 in total, and they've made it so that some of the abilities are so awesome you want them all. Well, tough. You cannot. But what I would recommend as a brand new player is to put your points into expertise very, very early on. And then, of course, focus on agility and vitality. It is 100% up to you if you want to go a different way, but I recommend this for very specific reasons. First of all, agility. If you get up to 15 points in here, you're very, very fast, and it costs you less to sprint, swim, jump, and climb. If you get expertise and you put this all the way up to level 20, or what they call expertise 4, then you will unlock the Beast of Burden passive. That will allow you to run full speed and swim and dodge and all that good stuff without any hindrance at all, apart from slower dodge rolling because you're heavier. And you can carry as much as you like. Technically, your inventory slots are limited, but your weight is not. You can carry a house and still run at full speed instead of being very, very slow and having to drop stuff. And of course, vitality. You do not have any recovery right now. The only recovery you get is from a potion very shortly after you've eaten it, or from food very shortly after you've eaten it. Outside of that, your health stays where it last was. If you get fast healer on the 10 points part, that will actually help you with better healing effects. But if you get the first bonus, which is fierce vitality, you'll actually get passive health regen. Now, obviously, this has a bit of endgame mentality put towards it, so I'm going to tell you what I recommend, and that is Glutton for Punishment. Once you get 20 points into health, Glutton for Punishment will heal you back to where you were when you last took damage. So if you get hit now and you lose 75% of your health, as long as you don't get hit again in the next 15 seconds, gradually over time, all that health will come straight back. If you fall off a cliff, all the health will come back. But if you get hit again within those 15 seconds, the new amount of health that you were at is where you will go to now. So if you're on 100% and you go down to 90, you'll go up to 100. If you're at 100%, you go down to 90, you go up to 95 and get hit, your cap is now 95. So it will look to fill that. Yes, of course, you can still recover to 100%, but Glutton for Punishment will fill the gap of the last attack you received. So try not to bleed. Anyway, that is where I'm going to stop there for now. We're going to go into a building tutorial in the next video, but that is how you get yourself established in Conan Exiles in the very beginning. You've got your clothes, you've got your tools, you've got your weapons, and the rest is up to you. Remember, bedroll and food. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully that was helpful. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is a very new channel versus my main Zyno Gaming channel, and this needs a lot of subs. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.